as a Scorpio, your life is intense anyway, because you are impacted so much by two of the most intense energies in our cosmos, and that is Pluto and Mars. Scorpio, during this week ahead astrology forecast that I'm about to share with you, I am going to break down why this is one of the biggest weeks of your existence. There are huge transits happening that are going to impact you all, and I will break down these major planetary transits, but I will also break down planetary aspects, which is the relationship between planets in the sky, the angular relationship between planets in the sky, and how they are impacting your natal sun. So this is all taken from the perspective of your natal sun. I will break down Scorpio into 3 decants, which is groups of 10 degrees. So if your natal sun is located between 0 and 10 degrees Scorpio, you are Scorpio 1, decant 1. If your natal sun is located somewhere between 10 and 20 degrees, you are decant 2, Scorpio 2. And as it follows, if your natal sun falls somewhere between 20 and 30 degrees Scorpio, you are going to be decant 3. Each of these decants has a sub-ruler, which I'm happy to have you share with me. Let me know in the comment section. I love your commentary. I will break down the dates that those angles relate to as much as I can, but the dates change yearly, right? The angles will never change. The degree at which your natal sun sits in Scorpio will not change, but the dates will change year to year, so I can estimate, this is, if you were born, decant 1 is definitely, it's usually October Scorpios, right? But when that starts, because it doesn't always start October 21st. Sometimes it starts October 22nd. Sometimes it starts October 20th. It depends on the year and where the sun is. So that will change the toggle point of the dates. But I will estimate throughout the video about then. So if those of you who don't have your natal chart in front of you and don't know the degrees can know where about I'm talking to you. I've gotten a comment which is a fair comment in the comment section, why don't you do timestamps? Because I make these videos for adults. And as a hardworking person myself, I understand that your time is precious, but if you don't have 15 minutes to listen to a whole video or the attention span to do so, I don't think this content is for you. Because even though your natal suns will be pinpointed in I'm making it specifically, I'm telling you specific things, there are definitely points throughout this video that apply to you all. And I am primarily making these videos for people who are not sick inside themselves with worry about, please astrology, tell me what my life is going to be. It's not predictive astrology so much as it is for people who love astrology and love the discussion of how this impacts your psyche, how this impacts your mood, and how this impacts your community and your world. So this is a philosophical discussion more than predictive. And if you're really only looking for, is my boyfriend going to leave me? Maybe you should ask him, not the natal charts. I'm just saying. I'm just letting you fucking know. And I'm going to break it down for you overall. As specifically as I can, but definitely watch the whole video, not just the things that you think just apply to you, because this isn't a personal reading, and a lot of the things that I say could apply to you more than you think they do. Remember, most of you have been watching Scorpio horoscopes your whole life, and they are so general and inaccurate. I'm not really sure why you're asking for timestamps in this video. I don't get it. I really don't know. But anyway, let's get into the huge occurrences that are happening, the huge transits that are happening that are 100% going to impact you. You're a Scorpio. Anything that these planets do is going to impact you, but especially one in particular. And that one in particular is Pluto. Pluto takes about 250 years of estimate to make a full journey through the zodiac. So Scorpio has Scorpios. Pluto hasn't been in Aquarius since 1978. 1978 was the last time it entered Scorpio. So nobody has been alive when Pluto was in Aquarius. And Pluto, absolutely, the placement of Pluto for astrologers tends to define the baseline of a generation. You'll know what the contribution of a generation is to historical society at large by knowing where Pluto was, and you'll see the impact and how they impacted human history by understanding where Pluto was at the time this generation was being born. So we haven't seen a Pluto in Aquarius generation in many, many decades. In fact, 2 centuries. Wow. So this is huge. Whenever Pluto makes a transit, it's extreme. And we feel it. The last time Pluto made a transit, not into Aquarius, but the last time Pluto made a transit was back in 2008. And it was it earmarked one of the biggest financial fallouts and upturns in history. Back in, I'm not going to go through all Plutos, but back in 1939, when Pluto transited from Cancer into Leo, World War II started. Pluto doesn't make any transits in a subtle way. It is always huge impact that changes our world. For good, better, that's not the discussion I'm here to have with you. Feel free to have it in the comments. For better, worse, I don't know, but Pluto comes in like a wrecking ball. And when it hits, and I've said this to you time and time again, when a planet first transits, that first impact is huge. So yeah, there's about to be a huge transit. Pluto will transit on this Thursday, March 23rd. It will transit into Aquarius, which is the sign of community, rebellion, revolution, and genius. Like a sense of Aquarius is the go-between between heaven and earth. The heavens, which is not defined by our 5 senses and 3 dimensions, and earth, which is defined by our 3 senses and dimensions, and by our 5 senses and 3 dimensions. And usually how this happens, how the connection happens, is mathematics, really, if you follow Uranus and how it was discovered and you understand its energy. Quite ironically, Uranus is still in Taurus, and Uranus is in a natural square to Pluto then in Aquarius. Pluto was in Capricorn, where it is in natural trine to where Uranus is, but Uranus now is going to be square to Pluto. Actually, it'll take a few years for Uranus to be actually square to Pluto. But Uranus, which rules Aquarius, is in Taurus. And Pluto is about to go into Aquarius. Pluto naturally rules Scorpio, which is why I'm discussing it with you. So we have Uranus, which rules Aquarius and Taurus, which means it's square to its native house. And then Pluto's about to go into Aquarius, which is square to its native house in Scorpio. So we've got tension, and that can't be overlooked. We also have huge stelliums that are happening at this time. We have jam-packed Aries and Taurus as Pluto comes into Aquarius. So earth-shaking, groundbreaking, new beginnings and new starts. The world has been set up for it. Uranus has been tearing down traditions and rattling traditional value systems in Taurus for quite some time, especially financial systems. How will Pluto impact Aquarius? On a global level, it's going to shock you, because Aquarius likes to not be predictable, and Aquarius likes to be different and not have you know how it's going to strike. I have predicted quite a few times last year that this is going to come in technological discoveries that prove things that prior to this were written off as woo-woo, hoo-ha, and spiritual. There are going to be this is going to change us on the community level of how we see ourselves and the world. And this could become not just a one planet world, but Earth could go universal at this point. Or we could find life on other planets, life on other planets could find us. This is some huge discovery that's going to change how we see ourselves as a community of this universe. It's a universal community now. It's not just because community is what Aquarius rules, but seeing fairness. How should laws support fairness and equality for all? And who is all? Who is everybody? Right? There were major issues as Pluto was going into Aquarius the last time. Should we count people with a certain color skin or with a certain sex? Should we count them as individuals? Should we even give them voting rights to this new country? Who was considered an individual when the idea that is America was created, right? And now that we've come full circle, what is the individual to us? I think those questions are going to be answered, and it's going to be something that makes us see ourselves not against each other, but more for each other, but that's going to have a huge impact. And I think with modern technology and the way that it's been going, we released the James Webb telescope late last year. We've made all these new discoveries during COVID. The Pentagon released the fact that, we've been tracking UFOs. We're now having open discussions about things we can't explain. There's so many things that have direct impact with Uranus that I think, or Aquarian energy, that Pluto is now going to, boom, explode, bring to the surface. So how does this impact you? Well, you will feel the shift. And I know you'll feel the shift, especially because Mars, your traditional ruling dignitary, before Pluto was discovered, your Pluto was discovered actually in 1930. So about 9 years before World War II happened, we discovered Pluto. So Pluto was a unique and very recent discovery as far as astronomy goes. But Mars was your traditional ruler, and Mars is about to transit too. It transits from Gemini, where it's been for an abnormally long time because it had a very long retrograde. Mars now transits into Cancer. Huge impact. So between Thursday with Pluto transiting and Saturday with Mars transiting, you can and will experience major shifts in your life, in your person, how you see things, how you live, who you want to be around, and how you take action. Mars is very uncomfortable in Cancer. It moves slower and it kind of sidewinds. It doesn't get directly to something. It wants to know all the details and then see the opposite side of it, and it wants to make decisions as it goes. So it doesn't take really direct action, but it does take action that it thinks at least will be better for everyone involved, which really does help it to align with Pluto entering into Aquarius. It's like, how have we behaved or done the right thing? And have we done the right thing? And have those who haven't done the right thing been exposed the way they should be? There are a lot of questions that are going to be answered, I think, in the coming months when Pluto is new to Aquarius. Like I said, it really doesn't take long for Pluto to have much impact. It was maybe about a month or a couple of weeks when Pluto transited, like I said, from Cancer to Leo back in the late 1930s, that World War II. Really recently, the last time Pluto transited into Capricorn, almost immediately we started to have rumbles and shakes of our financial systems starting to crumble. And by 2009, everybody was in trouble. So it doesn't take long for Pluto for those dynamic changes to happen. And we've been hearing the rumbling so far, and you can kind of understand where it points to. But personally, that is going to impact you big time, and it's going to sort of force you to change in ways that you maybe never thought that you would. So if changes happen dynamically to you guys right now, don't be surprised. And I'm going to go over how these changes will impact you, because Pluto going into Aquarius, like I said, is a natural square to your natal suns. If you are in Scorpio 1, if you are in the first degrees of Scorpio, so we're talking Libra, Scorpio cusps. So you're a Scorpio, but you're really, really close. You're in the very beginning of October 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Huge rattling impact in your life, because this is going to be square your natal suns. Pluto transiting into Aquarius is squaring your natal. Pluto square your sun is really hard energy to deal with. And you'll feel this, especially amongst your community, who you belong to, or the way you look at the world, because it's entering Aquarius. And this is about that global mindset. Or it will have major impact on how you're going to live your life, right? If global systems change, it will majorly impact you. Now, for those of you born at the end of Scorpio season, so Scorpio, Sagittarius cuspers, Scorpio 3s, but very, very close to Sagittarius season. So you're talking about November, right? Like late November 21st, 22nd, 23rd Scorpio. No, I'm sorry. So you're talking maybe the 19th through the 21st Scorpios, or depending on the year, it could be the 20th through the 22nd Scorpios of November. You guys are in sextile to Pluto transiting into Aquarius. Now a sextile impacts you in a very positive way, which means it's going to offer you a lot of opportunities that honestly are just going to shock the shit out of you. It's going to feel like doorways opened up that you never even thought they never even existed before. You didn't even think to ask, because with all this balancing out and resettling, it's going to settle in your favor and open up a lot of opportunities for you, right? If there's big exposés or maybe proving you right on these out of the box, think Aquarius, out of the box weird beliefs, and all of a sudden they're proven true, that could greatly impact how the world sees you. It's like that shift between, at once everybody called you crazy, and now if it's proven true what you've been saying the whole time, now you can sell books. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's how this transit will impact you. And that's why it's important to know where your natal sun falls, because just because you're a Scorpio, the same transit can impact you in a very dynamic way. Now, I'm not saying that Scorpio 2s, you're not experiencing anything. Yes, you are. Because you've known this for a while, Uranus is directly in opposition to your natal sun. And there's going to be a huge impact with Uranus over the next couple of days when Pluto transits into the sign that it rules. You also, by Saturday of this week, so when Mars transits into Cancer, which will definitely impact your romantic relationships, and what you care to take action on and how you address issues, it will change. It will change. And at this point, your natal suns will be in direct opposition to Venus, because Venus is now getting closer and closer and closer to conjuncting Uranus. So there is major shift when it comes to your romantic relationships, or maybe even your finances, but I think because Mars is involved, it has more to do with your romantic relationships. Once Mars moves into Cancer on Saturday, it forms a grand water trine. It forms a grand water trine between Saturn, because Mars is going to be trine to Saturn, and it'll be trine to the South Node, which is conjunct to Scorpio 1s. So especially Scorpio 1s, though you're square to Pluto moving into Aquarius, which is hard energy, you do have a grand water trine, almost in some ways making you very objective and malleable, more so than usual, to getting used to these changes. So there is a buffering point there. Now, normally a grand water trine might make you lazy. It might make you too free-flowing, right? Without being able to take as much action as you would have wanted to, or push things forward, because things move slow in the water. But ultimately, that huge push from Pluto, the shock waves, you know, like you don't want to be on land getting hit by a tsunami, right? You'd rather be in the water, like underneath it, letting it roll over you. So I think it could help buffer it a little bit, at least the initial shock to you guys. Another big thing that we have to talk about that impacts all of you is that Pluto is square the nodes. Pluto is square the nodes as it transits into Aquarius. That's huge. Because what it means is it is a dharmic check-in for all of humanity. How far have we come? It's almost like if you watch Star Trek, how the Federation of Planets will not connect with another planet until they've discovered warp drive on their own. And that's that point where they're like, okay, now we can make contact. And that's almost like that point where we are turning a corner in our very existence of humanity, because Pluto is square those nodes as he transits into Aquarius. We are turning this corner. We are reaching a milestone in our development so that we can really make a change that is gargantuan. I think it's probably going to be bigger than we've experienced in a long time. So there's a stellium in Taurus, and even though all of these things aren't simultaneously in opposition to your natal suns, just the fact that there's so much energy in Taurus, the moon in the beginning of this week is going to be exacerbating first Scorpio 1s, which are square to the North Node Venus conjunction. And as Venus moves on towards Scorpio 2s, the moon follows. So between Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the moon in Taurus is going to really exacerbate the emotional impact of all of these oppositions. Thursday, it's going to be conjunct Venus, which is an opposition to Scorpio 1s. Friday, it's going to be it's going to conjunct Uranus, which is an opposition to Scorpio 2s. And then between Friday, Saturday, the moon is going to be in opposition to Scorpio 3s, right? And Thursday is when Pluto moves in. And then Saturday is right before Mars takes the plunge into Cancer. Your life could change in this week just because you change. All of you at some point, your natal suns are going to be quincunx to the stellium that is in Aries. Mercury is moving through Aries. It's going to conjunct Jupiter and Chiron, hold on, by Friday, March 24th. No, hold on. Let me get this straight. By Saturday, Mercury is going to conjunct Chiron, conjunct Jupiter. And that's in direct opposition to you guys in Scorpio 2. So even though you don't get major impact from the Mars transit or the Pluto transit, which you will inevitably will feel anyway, you're going to be quincunx to this, once again, this huge conjunction between three planetary bodies, Jupiter, Mercury, and Chiron, finally being able to figure out or hear. It's like an announcement that you didn't expect to hear, but you're going to have to. And it will change your world and hopefully bring productivity to pain. But the impact, because it's an opposition, will sideswipe you and you won't expect it, so you'll have to deal with the discomfort of that. This is around Saturday. So when I say to you that there are major shifts and changes coming, it is almost an underestimation of what is coming to you, especially in major global issues and how they end up coming back to impact you. Scorpio 1s, you're going to take a square. You're going to take a real hit. Now, remember, squares will challenge you to help you after you face the challenge. So it's nothing that that will end you, but it'll be more painful than Scorpio 3s that are sextile to Pluto's transit. Scorpio 1s, you are also going to be trying to Mars as it moves into Cancer. So that's a very helpful energy of, okay, figuring out how to do things more slowly is going to actually help me take this impact of this dynamic change. It might even be that you get good news that something that all this impact outside of you that is crazy and scary slows things down so you have more time to think about what to do next. Use the time wisely. So you let me know in the comments below, please, exactly how, and I know I hear you asking again, it is the Scorpio 2s that are going to be direct opposition to Venus as she conjuncts Uranus, which is going to cause awkward and surprising things to happen in relationships that you didn't expect. Could be good, could be bad. It's going to surprise you and catch you off guard. Surprises to relationships. It's you guys. So you let me know in the comments below what you think, maybe what your predictions for the global impact this time around of Pluto in Aquarius is going to have, since it did usher in the concept that is the United States of America, which a lot of countries have had other revolutions based on, and they've revolutionized the way that we did things in America, really revolutionized government in general. And it set off a lot of ripples. So what is the impact going to be now? Is it going to be a war, do you think? Is it going to be a human ideal? Or is it going to be something extraterrestrial? Are we at that point where we can actually handle it? You let me know in the comments below, because I would love to know. And I do hope that you will join me for your tarot card reading over on Born Without Boundaries Tarot, because it'll be released right after this reading, and I hope to see both of you guys there. Remember to subscribe to, I hope to see you guys in both places. That's what I meant to say. Remember to subscribe to this channel so that you will always get these updates, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.